Hi guys, today I've got a digital painting of one of my original characters floating in space. So I'm gonna just talk about the concept a little bit. The concept is pretty simple. I kind of just combine two things I like drawing together. Like I like drawing galaxies and I like drawing girls, so here we go, a girl in a galaxy background. Yeah, not my strongest concept ever, but I don't care, it looks cool, so I'm happy with that. The reason I made this was for my portfolio. I don't have a lot of drawings that incorporate entire backgrounds or anything like that. Usually it's just the character either with a very simple background or no background at all. So I really wanted to change that and start doing more sort of scenes and just show off my illustration skills a little bit more. So that's why I decided to do this piece. I guess I'll talk a little bit about the process of the piece. So I started doing this completely digitally. And I started with just the figure because I knew the background was going to be space, and I've done space backgrounds before, so I wanted to focus mainly on the composition of the character and what pose I wanted to do. So the way I did this was I had to combine a lot of different references together to get the pose I wanted, because I wanted you to see her from an angle like slightly from below. And it's really hard to get a reference of somebody sitting from below because obviously if you try and take a picture, you'll get like the bottom of the chair or whatever you're sitting on. So unless you have like a clear glass table or something, it's really hard to take a reference photo of that. So instead, what I did was I looked up pictures of people jumping as well as pictures of people sitting, and I sort of combined them together to get the pose I wanted. And it took a lot of photos. I think I used about 5 or 6 different reference photos, including reference photos I took of myself and ones I found online. So yeah, it took a long time, but in the end, I'm really happy with the anatomy on this piece. I think it's some of my best I've ever done. So I'd say it's really worth it. And if you're struggling with doing more complicated poses, I would highly recommend just trying to combine reference photos and just seeing what you can do with more than one, because it can really help. After I figured out the pose, I moved on to the background, which I did using a variety of smoke brushes and star brushes. Now, I've downloaded these and I'll leave links to them in the description, they're completely free. But what I like to do is I do sort of a base color with the smoke brushes. So in this case I used purple, and then when I'm happy with the sort of base colors and like where I want the lightest parts of the stars to be and where I want the darkest parts to be, then I go in with the star brushes and play with the opacity of that to get what I really want. After that, I'll take a copy of that layer and play with the hue saturation. I haven't done it yet in the video, but you'll see later that I changed the hue saturation of it, and just sort of play with the colors and stuff and sort of combine different versions of that layer to create a multicolored galaxy. And I think the result is pretty cool. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about painting the actual character in this piece. So what I do first is I lay down my flat colors, which is just the unshaded base colors of the character. And a lot of the times I'm not happy with the color I put down first, because even though I think I picked the right color from the color picker, when I lay it down and compare it to the background color, it usually doesn't look right. So I usually go in with the hue and saturation tool and just slide the sliders and figure out what exactly I need to do to change the color to make it more like the color I'm imagining in my head. And after I do that with most of the colors, I think I did it for the sweater, the skin, and the hair in this one. Usually I have a really improved color scheme than if I hadn't done that. So it's a really good tip, I think, to do if you're having trouble with digital color schemes, to just use the hue and saturation tools and slide them around and tweak your colors that you initially lay down, just so you can get them to match your color scheme a little bit more. After that, shading is a lot simpler in my opinion, because all you really need to do is pick a color that's already on your canvas. For example, in this piece I used a dark blue that was already in the background and blend it in with the rest of your colors. And I find that that makes it already sort of matching your color scheme that you already have, because it's a color that was already in the picture. So yeah, after that, it's just a matter of shading and blending it all out. And that's something that I think you just need to practice at to be better. I'm by no means the best digital painter in the world, but I'd say that just a lot of practice has helped me figure out how to blend better, and just, you know, patience really, because the longer you work at it, the more blended out it'll be and the smoother it'll be. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this piece turned out. There are definitely some things I need to improve and work on. For example, the face shading, I think I was a little too timid with how far I went, in that I didn't really add shading under her nose or near her chin, or even really the contour at her cheek. And I think I should have, because that's how a face works, but I didn't want to ruin it, and every time I tried it looked weird. But I'm sure with more practice I'll learn how to shade faces a little more realistically. And I also wish I added some more texture on her clothing just to make it look less smooth, because I imagined her in like a wool sweater or something, and it doesn't really look like wool. But other than that, I think I did a really good job. It's certainly worthy of my portfolio. It's probably the best piece I've done so far. So yeah, I'm happy with it, and I hope you guys like it too. So yeah, that's about all the time I have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!